Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on this another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host Adrian Atkinson. We have a lot in store, starting with the news of the day. Stick around.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JS News for Monday, July 22, 2024. Justice Marva MacDonald Bishop has been sworn in as Jamaica's first female president of the Court of Appeal. She took the oath of office at King's House on Thursday, succeeding Justice Patrick Brooks, who retired from the position. Justice MacDonald Bishop was invested with the Order of Jamaica OJ during the swearing-in and investiture ceremony. Prime Minister Andrew Holness praised Justice MacDonald Bishop's appointment, acknowledging her merit and the confidence placed in her capabilities.
Your swearing in today marks a historic moment for our judiciary and for Jamaica, as you become the first woman to hold this prestigious position. Justice MacDonald Bishop's ascension is a testament to her exceptional legal acumen, dedication, and the respect she commands within the legal community. Justice MacDonald Bishop, I am confident that under your leadership, the Court of Appeal will continue to uphold the highest standards of judicial excellence.
Justice MacDonald Bishop expressed gratitude for the opportunity to lead the country's appellate court.
I intend to collaborate with the executive so that the judiciary, the third arm of government, can take its rightful place in the governance of this country. I must continue my labor for justice, for the benefit of all Jamaicans, even those who you may believe are guilty. But the Constitution must prevail at all times.
Minister of Finance and the Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark is proposing the establishment of a school of government to help craft a generation of leaders for the public sector. He says this is critical for supporting the national public sector reformation apparatus.
When we try to take on large procurement projects that are multifaceted and that are complex, we often find that along the way errors are made. And after 6 months, after 9 months, we have to do the procurement again. So with the complex layers of laws, rules, regulations, procedures that have come from our ambitious, multidimensional reform program, we're going to need to specially train our own cadre of future public service leaders.
Dr. Clark was addressing the recent Mind Regional Public Sector Leadership Development Conference held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Chairman of Mind's Advisory Board, Professor Lloyd Waller, says the institute is seeking to realign its programs to address local and national interests.
So these are the issues and trends that we at Mind are also monitoring, trying to evaluate what the future of leadership will look like with a view of evaluating our own product offerings, our own courses, so that we can be able to better retrofit the public sector with the needs and the skills and the capacities and the capabilities to be resilient workers, to be workers who are in sync with the world that we live in today.
Work is to begin this week on the Troy Bridge in Trelawney, with the structure slated for completion within a year. This follows Cabinet's approval for a $231 million contract to replace the bridge, which collapsed in 2021 during the passage of Tropical Storm Grace. Communications and Customer Services Manager at the National Works Agency NWA, Stephen Shaw, gave the update last week during an inaugural meeting for the Troy Bridge project.
The process has been quite engaging. We have had to do quite a bit of technical work, and we're happy to be at this stage now where we're having this inaugural meeting where we're setting out some of the nuts and bolts that are in the contract for execution.
The Troy Bridge links several communities in Trelawney, Manchester and St. Elizabeth, and Mr. Shaw says it's being designed for resilience.
Iron steel is going to be driven into the ground. We are going to be creating a cap on which the base of the triple cell culvert is going to be built. So, in other words, those the structure is going to be sitting on columns and not just on the ground, as it were.
A temporary detour will be constructed to facilitate pedestrians who now seek to cross the Hectors River. The Ministry of Agriculture has procured $900 million worth of fungicide for distribution to farmers affected by a significant outbreak of yam rust disease, which is posing a major threat to the sector. Portfolio Minister Floyd Green made the announcement during the last post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. The yam rust disease is caused by a fungal pathogen and has been identified in various farming communities across the island. Research indicates that the primary symptoms include yellow spots on the upper surfaces of leaves, which can severely impact crop yields.
We've been working with our yam farmers around yam rust disease, which has presented itself in Jamaica. And we had dispatched a team from RADA, from Bodles, our research and development unit, to look at how we can help our farmers cauterize the spread of yam rust and clearly save their crops.
Coming off the Prime Minister's announcement of a $300 million allocation for fogging and other mosquito control measures, vector control activities across the island have been intensified. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton gave an update during a press briefing on Thursday. He says southern parishes, which were among those most affected by dengue cases in the last year and greatly impacted by Hurricane Beryl, have been prioritized for interventions.
We intend to engage an additional 400 vector control workers to bring the current number of temporary workers to 1,000. They will be assigned to high-risk communities to identify and treat breeding sites. In addition, they will assist with the fogging activity.
Fogging activities have been extended to 7 days a week and are being conducted both in the morning and evening, with special emphasis on urban centers and high-risk communities. Dr. Tufton says private pest control operators are also being engaged to further strengthen the fogging activities in areas most needed.
We are engaging private pest control operators to the extent that they are available to further intensify the fogging activities in areas most needed. Up to this point, we are targeting approximately 10 private contractors.
The Health Ministry will also be distributing drum covers to help to stem any significant increase in the Aedes aegypti population. 500 have been distributed since Beryl, and another 20,000 are being procured for distribution. And finally, motorists are being strongly advised to settle their traffic fines promptly to avoid legal repercussions. The call comes from the Minister of Justice, Delroy Chuck. While addressing Parliament last week, the Minister disclosed that the Kingston Traffic Court had issued an alarming 3,000 warrants each week for unpaid traffic violations.
Those who don't pay within 31 days, they end up in the traffic courts. A number of persons don't come to court, and when they don't come to court to pay because they fail to pay a TAJ. Now what is happening is that the court is now issuing warrant, and this is now being issued electronically. You should only come to the traffic court if you really feel you're not guilty and you're challenging a case. But don't come to the traffic court to plead guilty and pay. It's holding up the court.
And that's it for JS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Jamaica's judicial system continues to transform to make the country's national development goal of being a more peaceful and just society. That is the place of choice to live, work, raise families and do business. We are starting our features journey with a look at the government's strategic plan for a more robust and efficient judiciary to support social stability and our economic development.
Welcome to the launch of the Strategic Business Plan.
This plan is a reflection of our resolve to leverage the strengths of our nation in addressing our challenges. It is a pledge to continue our journey towards a judiciary that not only meets but exceeds the expectations of the people we serve.
This new business plan carries with it several treats for the stakeholders, with the core values of fairness, accountability, impartiality, integrity, independence, innovation, and respect. And that goes into the acronym FAIR. And commitment, communication, courtesy, accessibility, responsiveness, and empathy. And that goes into the acronym CARE. There is something in it for everyone. The business plan is also impressive as it involves a robust enterprise risk management system to ensure its sustainability and mitigate against numerous threats.
Nobody's business, nobody's business, nobody's business but me all.
The strategic plan, benchmarking the future, consolidating excellence, has at its foundation 5 years of consistent consultation. It is the backbone of our judiciary. Court proceedings lie at the heart of our mission to administer justice impartially and efficiently. A well-functioning judiciary requires robust processes and infrastructure to support its operations. Effective leadership and governance are essential for guiding the judiciary through periods of change and uncertainty. As such, emphasis is placed on the importance of visionary leadership, strong governance structures, and sound policy decisions to ensure the integrity and independence of our judiciary. Our core function is to serve the needs of the Jamaican people. As such, meaningful engagement is essential for building trust and promoting accountability.
We have no doubt that the idea is that you will improve the efficiency and the speed with which cases are being delivered. With this strategic plan, in completing cases speedily and in a timely manner, it will allow more revenue to come within the system.
Next year, we'll be establishing formal training programs for the leadership core of the courts, for the leadership judges, for registrars, for court administrators, supervisors, to develop the skill and competence in managing courts. What we wish to do here to improve the professionalism within by which the courts are operated. And so this strategic plan is designed to take us there.
Our new strategic plan addresses the fundamental changes facing our judiciary head-on, with a focus on increasing stakeholder satisfaction, enhancing trust in the judiciary, improving data management, streamlining internal processes, and upgrading court infrastructure, among other key objectives.
And having traveled around the Caribbean and even to the United States as well, I can safely say that there's no other jurisdiction within this region that has the quality of data that we have collected over the last 7.5 years.
A well-functioning judiciary was essential to economic development and social stability. And I'm happy to see that that has been recognized and that the work of the judiciary of Jamaica is supporting the economic development and social stability in this country. So this momentous occasion today signifies commitment to improve and reflects dedication to the principles of justice and fairness that underpin the legal system of this country.
As we saw recently, disasters do happen, and the impact on life and property can be significant if we are not prepared. Events such as storms and earthquakes, which are common in our region, are reminders of the need to have systems that ensure safety and resilience. Learn more as we explore factors to consider when developing the built environment against catastrophes.
We ask developers, we ask persons who have an interest to develop land, and even overwater structures and sea, we ask that you adhere to the policies and the guidelines that we would have presented in the different policies, guidelines that the National Environment and Planning Agency has. We have the development order, we have different protections and acts that we regulate. We have the Natural Resources Conservation Act, we have Wildlife Act, we have several acts. We have a plethora of policies, guidelines, and we have what I would call a structured legislative framework that can guide persons, and we request and ask that persons adhere to these regulations and these laws that we have. They're here to protect you, and they're here to guide you and how you develop your natural and built spaces, and also to ensure that we have soundness in our development and also to protect our people.
We ask the citizenry to have your buildings designed by the reputable persons, whether it be architects or engineers, and have the construction executed by a reputable constructor or contractor. There are some fundamental areas inside of the building that we expect the constructors to focus on in the event of an earthquake, and these areas are the foundation and the columns. Those are critical to keep the buildings up while there's an earthquake. So we ask that the junctions where you can have shear taking place be properly constructed in order to have the building lasting longer to allow the citizen or the occupant to leave the building.
In the event of an earthquake, we must be always mindful of the fact that one, you cannot move, or you should not be moving about when the shaking takes place. Duck, cover and hold until after the shaking stops. After the shaking stops, if you see the need, then you can call the nearest fire station, 110, or most important, 112 if you don't have any signal. So if the cell service goes, you will see your cell phone saying emergency calls only. Once you press the call sign, it will take you to 112. 112 will automatically take you to the country that you're in, to the emergency services, and it will get assistance to you. But most importantly, persons need to know the number for their nearest fire station.
High-rise buildings are buildings above 10 stories. Mid-rise are between 5 and 9, and low-rise is below 4, 1 to 4. Now, we have a lot of mid-rise and low-rise buildings. We have a few high-rise buildings. When it comes down to high-rise and what we call soft story buildings, those are the buildings with the open basement parking that is very common for the apartments especially. What we recommend is that they are designed, as was emphasized earlier, by an engineer, especially for the structural components. And those engineers must follow a code. It could have been the ACI code, or some persons might use the British code to design. But whichever code you use, you must be guided and provide the contractors or the constructors with enough information to execute. Now, some of the guidelines for simpler buildings, like a bungalow, we recommend that the rebars or the steel that they use be corrugated. We used to use the mild steel bars, but over the years we realized that the corrugated bars provide a better strength for the tensile aspect of the building. Corrugated bars are what you will see at the hardware with the grooves on the bar. So the plain bars are without the grooves, and the corrugated bars are the one with the grooves around the perimeter, the circumference of the bar. The problem is you cannot really design to prevent earthquake in a sense, because the sine wave and the other factors that comes with the wave, the most you can do is to probably focus on some critical areas. Critical areas for the building is like the column and the foundation. And of course, if your soil type is bad, if it's clay, it is a bad soil type, and so your foundation type has to be different.
In the few remaining minutes of this Jamaica Magazine, we are inviting you to pay attention to your surroundings for any signs of mosquito breeding sites and get rid of them. Ministry of Health and Wellness is ramping up its enhanced mosquito vector control program with community and home visits, public education. Keep watching to learn more and how you can help.
Oh, that like helicopter fly. Not the one AD's Egypt time. And the police, you know get no blind. Dirty Culex, the outsider cry. You don't believe that dengue is real. Who can't hear mosquito bite them a feel. Female, a search for a blood meal. To argue is like a KFC meal deal. Vector control, fight against Zika. Vector control, kill mosquito.
Dengue fever, mad me. They really tend to forget to that the mosquito. But to me, that did look like small matter. Me just clap after the one that will come too close. But me never know say so much did in me. Oh, you see how them little ass sneaking?
Entertainment being shared here with strong personal responsibility messages for preventative measures as an army of 1,000 vector control aides and unit staff muster on the grounds of the National Heroes Circle. These are the Ministry of Health and Wellness's frontline assault on the mosquito population across Jamaica. Over the past few years, the ministry has introduced the Enhanced Vector Control Program as a component of its Integrated Vector Management Program to strategically control the mosquito population.
History, literature, and research tells us that if we enhance our vector control activities 2 or 3 months prior to your high transmission period, you're likely to reduce the possibility of an outbreak. And if you do get into an outbreak, to reduce the burden of same.
It is an attempt at educating the population, and we have to remind them of it almost every single year, because as Jamaicans we tend to forget when it's not a crisis, it don't matter until it becomes a crisis again. We have to be proactive.
Ridding our environment of the pesky Aedes aegypti mosquito requires every able member of our communities to engage in a sustained search to locate and destroy mosquito breeding sites. The ministry's trained vector control team plays an important role by visiting homes, distributing materials, inspecting and treating water storage facilities, and passing on information to individuals they meet.
We're focusing on this one because this one is the one that carries the deadly virus. The ZIKV, the CHIKV, the dengue in particular, but other viruses too.
Objects and containers holding water or water catchment areas within our surroundings are prime breeding sites.
75 of the times when we find mosquitoes breeding, it is in and around the home, and it was put there or left there by the householder who becomes the victim of the mosquito when it goes out and starts to bite and spread the virus.
The team of vector control workers have the role of ensuring householders recognize the dangers and that they take the necessary steps to secure their environment.
cover your drums if you're storing water for usage. That you make sure your solid waste is properly packaged so that NSNAA can come and pick it up, or you can drop it off somewhere. That you empty out your vase that you have your flowers in, your freshly cut flowers on your dining room table or on your dresser to pretty up your house. You empty it periodically because it's water and it's a breeding site.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is making the employment of 1,000 vector control aides a standardized yearly feature of its operation. All vector control aides received training and certification through the Heart Trust NTA, which empowered them with the skills they can use in many other jobs.
The training is about management and supervision. The training is about how to interact with people, customer service. The training is about deportment and personal conduct. Those are life skills that helps you to be a better individual and a more marketable individual.
Extra resources have been provided to support this much bigger team in the field in the form of logistics, transportation and equipment such as fogging machines. Some things they want every Jamaican to recognize includes the additional breeding sites that spring up during rainy times. Water collection containers should be securely covered so they don't become breeding grounds. And solid waste can be a harbor for these deadly pests. The Health and Wellness Ministry is collaborating with the National Solid Waste Management Authority and municipal corporations to ensure our environments are clean and mosquito-free.
The NSAA may stand ready to work with the Ministry of Health and all other partners because we have a mantra and we share it right across. Jamaica's beauty is our collective duty. And we want to have a safe environment for us, not us, but our children.
Be welcoming to those who are deployed in the field, vector workers who will visit your homes to allow them to assist you in identifying and destroying those breeding sites. The real response to dengue is not just about the treatment. That stage everybody would have been, the person would have been affected. It really is about how we prevent.
Children are the future, and ensuring our future is healthy requires that children are always provided with nutritious foods to grow well and live long. Unhealthy diets high in sugar, salt, and fat consumed by children may make them obese and prone to non-communicable diseases later in life. Healthy foods and beverages not only help them learn better, but also protects them from non-communicable diseases such as some cancers, diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular diseases in their childhood and adult life. So, whether it's at home, in the lunch bag, or at school, let's make healthy foods and beverages for our children the only rule.
Our half-hour journey through the pages of Jamaica Magazine ends right here for today. But please join us again tomorrow on this same station for more news, features and information you can use. In the meantime, visit our website gis.gov.jm for this and other offerings. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Till such time, do take care and stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.